Hello guys and welcome back to the Motor Recon podcast. I'm your host Adam and joined again today by Rob. Today what we're going to do is look at sort of the last bastions of what we call naturally aspirated cars. So any cars that still have engines that are neither turbocharged nor supercharged.
Yeah, this came about when the brand new Porsche Cayman GT4 came out.
Yeah.
And that's got a naturally aspirated sort of, I think it's a four-cylinder... it's a naturally aspirated 4-litre 6-cylinder engine. And yeah,
it's kind of the same as what they had in the previous GT4.
Yeah.
Which we actually kind of like they've done that. And I know a lot of reviewers have sort of been talking about it and they like the fact that Porsche have kept that.
Yeah, because obviously the new Cayman, the standard sort of Cayman range, they're now sort of turbocharged 4-parts, aren't they?
And everyone's complained about the sound of them. Sort of, even when they're revving out, they don't sound great, which for a sports car, it's not ideal.
I think people are being a little harsh on them on that front, though. I mean, they're doing what they have to do for emissions regulations and whatever, you know.
I know why they've done it, which is fine, but if they can do the GT4 with that engine, and that's not obviously ruining any spoiling any emissions regulations or anything like that. Yeah. They could have put it in the normal car and made it less powerful.
Yeah, maybe.
Because people who are buying that car aren't really fussed about MPG. It's not why you're buying that car, is it? So I kind of get it. They've sort of moved with the times, and I suppose it's them developing that technology. But I still think they could have gone with the 6-pot.
It also helps to distinguish the GT4 from the standard variants as well.
It does, to be fair. Actually, I think you realise I'm spending a lot more money.
But you are getting a lot more car.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot more car for it. And they've still kept the manual gearbox in it as well, which is obviously for us, that's perfect.
Yeah, I think it's a 6-speed, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually read up on it. It wouldn't surprise me if they'd gone with a 7-speed, from the 911. I doubt they will have done, but I hope they do, because that would actually be pretty cool. So anyway, that was the reason we sort of got talking about this, and it came up and we thought, how many other cars are you can still actually buy today that have a naturally aspirated engine? And it led us on to a bit of a mission. We found a couple that we like that are still for sale.
Yeah, there's not many left though.
There really is
not many left.
Not unless you go to sort of America.
Good point.
Yeah, these are ones that we can obviously buy in Europe, where obviously we're based. So I'll kick us off straight off the bat with, I suppose I would say one of my favourites from the list, but it's probably not. The Ferrari 812 Superfast.
Yeah.
Obviously naturally aspirated 6.5 litre V12 engine. A very famous engine for Ferrari. They just sound great, and I've already sort of suspect the next one after this will be turbocharged.
It's proper old school in that respect. It's just a massive V12 and it produces a ton of power, sure, and I suppose if they did add some sort of trickery, whether it be hybrid technology or if it was turbocharging or supercharging, whatever, I dread to think how much power it's capable of once you start forcing induction.
It'll be way past 1,000. This is in the sort of near sort of sense, this is a similar engine to what's in the LaFerrari with the electric sort of assistance, and that gets near to 1,000 horsepower. And Ferrari were definitely understating what that engine and electric combination is capable of.
Yeah.
If you look at the new, obviously.
The
SF90. That's pushing nearly 1,000 horsepower with a V8 in electric assistance. So.
Well, to be fair, I think since the LaFerrari came out, though, I think hybrid technology is coming a long way, particularly the battery side of things. And
of course,
how much you can deploy and, efficiency of batteries and things like that. So being able to utilise more out of what you put in the car. So.
Yeah, but I do respect them for keeping up with this naturally aspirated V12. It's a very big fan favourite amongst Ferrari fans. And obviously general public anyway, the way it screams at high revs.
I mean, it's a proper white knuckle ride when you get it going as well. It's sort of like...
And one thing, to be fair, I know this sounds a bit stupid, they have been criticised by a few particular journalists for putting too much power into this. It is a GT car, so they are meant to be a front engine, obviously extremely powerful, comfortable car that can just blast down the motorway.
But at the same token, you don't have to use all of it.
You don't, but then that begs the difference, why do you need... I suppose it's there if you need
but
it.
If you're in the market and you're looking to buy yourself an 812 Superfast, you don't need it in the first place.
That is very true.
So it's a case of it's not a question of need. It's a question of, as far as GT cars are concerned, it is totally unique in the fact that it has a proper massive V12 sitting up at the front that's naturally aspirated.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got the Aston Martin DBS Superleggera, but that's turbocharged, isn't it?
Yeah.
So although that is also a V12, it's a smaller capacity forced induction unit. So I think it stands out on its own.
It does. There's not, well, obviously the cars that compete with it, but not in the terms of the naturally aspirated
That's the thing,
factor,
and
yeah.
I think that's exactly what they've gone for, isn't it?
Yeah, styling wise, I'm not as keen. I preferred the F12 as we've discussed in the past, but I respect it for keeping sort of that naturally aspirated engine in there.
They've certainly not ruined the looks with the 812. It's not like it's been ruined.
No, but they've switched from Pininfarina to internal design now at Ferrari.
Yeah,
which I think was a mistake. People will still buy them because it's a Ferrari, but you can definitely tell they've lost a lot of the.
Yeah, maybe that sort of
style.
styling finesse that came with it, potentially.
Yeah, but we'll have to see what they come out with in the future. I bet, well, when they make the hardcore version of the 812, I don't know what it'll be called, because it could be a TDF GTO, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Whatever they decide to call it, we'll have to see what that looks like.
Heaven knows how much power that'll be putting out, and whether it will indeed. I imagine it'll stay naturally aspirated. I'm curious to see how much they can wring out of it.
I think it will for that model, because obviously you had the GTO over 599, which was a big improvement over that, and that stayed as it was. You've got the TDF over the F12, which was, again, stayed pretty much the same in terms of the engine, just a bit more powerful, but didn't add any extras on in terms of electric or anything like that. So
No.
I don't think they will with this. It's the last one they're going to do, so
Yeah.
I think we'll have to wait and see. Do you want to do the next one? I know you're a big fan of this new one.
Yeah, so the next one we wanted to talk about is obviously Lamborghini currently are famous for the fact that they do keep naturally aspirated alive.
Apart from the Urus,
but they have two of their big models are still naturally aspirated. We've decided to talk about the Huracan for this one. So we're talking about the facelifted Huracan Evo. So update for 2019. So you're looking at 631 horsepower from a naturally aspirated V10.
Yeah.
You can't really complain at that.
You can't. And I said that I've heard one of these now in person at the show I was at a few weeks ago, and they do sound incredible.
Yeah.
And they very much styled it to kind of follow on from the Performante, with the exhaust sort of raised up in the centre of the car.
Yeah, you see, this is the thing, and that's part of the styling cues that I quite like that has come over. And it's interesting because we have had a look. We've also got the Audi R8 up to compare it with, although similar engines and performance.
Well, it's the same engine, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. So similar performance and things like that. But when everything first came out, I really liked the original R8's design. And obviously, when the Huracan came out and there was an R8 in its sort of sleek design from more simplistic design from earlier years, I preferred the R8.
Yeah.
Under the current model range, though, so if you were asking me in 2019, would I go out and buy a Huracan Evo or the new facelifted Audi R8, I would take the Huracan Evo. I think they've gone better. And I don't know why, it's just...
Now, I have always been a fan of the R8, so I'm not going to criticise it on styling. I think it looks great. And the new one is very aggressive, but I don't like what they've done with fake air vents on the... What is the point in adding vents if they have zero purpose?
Yeah,
what's the point?
Yeah,
it's just a... Well, it just doesn't seem any real other than to make it look more aggressive, which obviously is the reason they've done it. But if you're going to put them on it, at least do something with it.
Yeah, and we were talking about this as well, because we were saying apparently the Supra has a similar problem of vents that don't go anywhere. And I thought, well, maybe that's so it's open to sort of modders and people who want to come in, and they may end up turning those vents into something that it has a use.
But they're certainly not going to be on the R8, I can't imagine.
Well, the other thing is, though, I fully understand that, but it begs the question of just fill them in on the properly.
Yeah,
on the cars that you say, you know what I mean, don't
you?
Yeah,
they've added a feature that has absolutely no point to it whatsoever.
Probably increases drag,
if anything. Yeah. I'm assuming they'll have tested that, but it's just full. And manufacturers doing it with exhausts as well.
Yeah, so exhausts don't really lead anywhere.
No,
so
it's just a full hole. It's just a
thing. It's a hole, and you see the sort of like the exhaust pipe in the background that feeds sort of into it. But it's sort of like, well...
Some aren't even that. Particular Mercedes are bad for it, where it literally is the outline shape of an exhaust, but it's filled in with black plastic.
Yeah.
Why? It just looks ridiculous. Just have an exhaust.
Or, like in the generation of Fiesta that we both have, we don't really we have exhausts, obviously, but they don't come out of the back. They
No,
just
they
sort of
just
sit underneath, don't they?
Which is fine.
But I prefer that to them putting some sort of fake exhaust on the back any day of the week.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm happy to just not have one.
So I would I would agree. The new R8, I do think it looks good. I can't deny that, but it does have pointless features in it. So I would also go for the Huracan.
Yeah.
Well, I would anyway. Just I think it's better looking. Full stop.
No, but it's 5 years ago, or however, before the facelift of the Huracan to the Evo, if you'd have asked me would I take an R8 over a Huracan, I'd have taken an R8. It's the Evo that has actually swung me over.
That is interesting to know. I'd say I do prefer the rear end on that as well. The way they've brought the Performante rear end over.
I like the way that the spoiler's been sort of built into the sort of like the boot lid at the back.
Yeah,
so the spoiler's actually just built into it.
It's basically a more subtle Performante.
Yeah, I like
in that sense. I do like the new front bumper. It's slightly more aggressive, but still keeping it in a sort of simple manner, which I do like. Obviously, we can talk about the new R8. Other than the front end and a tiny bit at the back, it hasn't really changed that much. It's obviously got the updated engine. Now, but it's only gone up to 611 brake horsepower.
Oh, that's interesting.
But a lot of the drag races between these and the Huracan, they are so similarly matched. It's pretty much negligible in terms of speed, and they do found across the board. Even Lamborghini do it. They understate the actual performance of the car.
Yeah.
So they have been timed accelerating faster than what the manufacturer claims.
Well, that's the best way to do it, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't want people timing them and constantly getting slower times, I guess.
It's funny, Ferrari always do that. It's really strange. Yeah, they Ferrari oversell what their cars can do, and everyone else in that sector seems to undersell, which is not a bad thing on their part, I don't think. Now then, this is one for you.
Now, you came off the top of my head because I quite like them. The Toyota GT86.
I love these.
Yeah, so brilliant. And obviously, it is a naturally aspirated 2-litre Boxster unit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, interesting. In some respects, you can think, oh, it's like a Scooby, but obviously it's not because it is naturally aspirated.
Yeah, but they do make a Subaru version, don't they? The BRZ, which is exactly the same car, and they did partner with them heavily on the development of it, which I think is why they've got the Boxer engine.
Yeah, I suppose that does make sense, doesn't it? Yeah,
it does.
So what are we looking at? 6-speed manual.
197 brake.
Yeah, 197 brake horsepower.
We can't complain. It's a lightweight car, drifts like hell if you've watched any videos of it.
But here's the interesting thing though, because obviously it is quite an old car now. It has been in production since about 2012.
Yeah.
So you can't call it a brand new car, but let's say compared to the new Ford Fiesta ST, out of a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder engine that obviously is turbocharged, you're getting roughly the same.
It's exactly the same.
About 200 horsepower,
Yeah,
and that's a 2-litre 4-cylinder.
But what you will get with that, you'll get no lag whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be instant. It is surprisingly lightweight, but obviously it is still as heavy as a Fiesta, if not slightly heavier.
Yeah.
But what they did with this, I don't know if they still do, but they built it out of the factory with the tyres from a Prius.
Oh yeah.
So you could deliberately make it as ungrippy as possible.
You can get it loose at relatively sane speeds, can't
which
you?
I think they've done on purpose to make it fun, and it got rave reviews from everybody when it came out.
Don't remember. I think styling wise, obviously it is a few years old now, but I will say styling wise, I think it still really holds up.
Yeah.
I see ones driving around from 2012, and frankly, they do look like they've just rolled out the factory.
Yeah, well, they still pretty much make the same car, don't they? So
yeah, I as you say, I first saw them in the flesh really, and had a proper close look at them the first time I went to Goodwood a few years back. Yeah. And I do remember being impressed by them. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and this is obviously a personal opinion. I think it's a lot better looking than the new Supra.
Yeah, I would actually, and if it was, and there we go, here's a controversial one. If it was my money and I was putting it down on the table, even if I could afford a Supra, I would probably go for a GT86 and pocket the change.
I would also. Yeah. I don't like the new Supra, as you probably well know. I think it's hideous, and I much prefer this. And I probably would enjoy driving that more as well.
Yeah, if it was my money, I would be probably getting the GT86, pocket the change, and spend the rest of it on a fantastic driving holiday or whatever.
Yeah, so, you might as well.
You might as well take it on a European road trip or something.
Yeah, if I was going to do that, I would change the tyres.
Well,
it depends, but
it depends what you want to do.
yeah, if it's going to be wet all the time, you'll just be sliding everywhere, which could be fun.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, could be
that's
fun.
part of the joys of that car.
It could be
isn't
fun.
It,
Yeah, I actually go with you on that one. The next one, I know you're a massive fan of this car, but I'm just going to introduce very quickly the Mazda MX5, the new one.
Yeah.
Obviously, it has been out for a while, this shape now, but you can still purchase it. So we'll keep it in. So it's actually the 1.5 litre one, because the new 2 litre is turbocharged, but the 1.5 litre is not. Even to be fair, I was surprised how economical that was.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, 44.8 miles to the gallon. Which
I think a lot of that will come from just how lightweight they are, though, because obviously you will read in the car magazines about the MX-5. This is a shape that's been out since about 2015.
Yeah.
But they became, obviously there's lots of weight-saving initiatives that went on to keep the weight down. So it doesn't surprise me that a car with a relatively modest engine capacity that weighs about as much as a tea bag gets good economy.
I know we've sat in a few of these before, but a lad at work has just got one actually, and we're just having a look at it. And one of the other, I know why it is so light as well, the roof mechanism is insane. You literally just unclip it at the top, push back, your roof's down. 2 seconds, if that.
It's interesting. If I commute quite a long way into work, but if I didn't commute quite so far, I would most certainly be looking at an MX-5 for obviously the modern generation one.
To be honest though, with that MPG, you're not far behind what you're getting now, so
it's true. I mean,
it's actually reasonable to say how you could have that.
Well, the other thing is, obviously, in the UK, I had a look on Motorpoint, for example, and there's some really not that old ones for sale for decent cash, to be honest. It's good value.
They are reliable. They're reliable as well,
Yeah.
which you can't complain at. I think they look great. They're a big step up from the previous gen.
Massive.
Huge step. I liked the previous gen as well, but this one's a big step up. I would probably have that over most other sports cars. I think the only one that I would compete with is a GT86 for my purchase.
That's true, yeah. And I mean, if I'm being honest, I think if it was me between this and the GT86, I would probably take the MX-5. If it was me, I know it's probably a little bit heavier and not quite as dynamic, but I would probably go for the one with the hardtop sort of convertible mechanism.
Yeah, just 'cause it's a bit more usable on a day.
That's the thing, because you've got to remember that for me, I would be using it as a daily driver as well. So I need something that is a little bit more durable. We do live in Lancashire. It rains, it's one of those things. As good as the canvas roof is, I would probably feel more comfortable with having a hardtop roof.
No, and I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Slightly more expensive, but I think worth it.
That's the thing. If you're looking to keep it, long run, it's worth it.
Now then, the car I would actually go out with my own money if I had the money now and buy is a Ford Mustang. 5 litre, naturally aspirated, V8, 460 brake horsepower.
Yeah.
Manual, rear wheel drive.
It's a Mustang, isn't it?
What more do you want? And, well, the 19 MPG is a bit of a downer. But
obviously, this is something that not until this generation, or either this generation or something, this similar style of body, isn't it? This hasn't only been introduced as a formal car you can buy in Britain with right-hand drive.
the last few years.
Yeah.
But the recently facelifted sort of version of it, we're now on the second gen of the one released in the UK.
Yeah,
well, it's the same car technically, it's just had a bit of a facelift and a bit of an update on the inside.
Yeah.
I think it looks fantastic. Obviously, pictures will be up for you, the guys watching. Out of this list we've mentioned so far, I think this is the one that I genuinely want more than any of them.
Now, when we were at Goodwood this year, one of the cars that impressed me most of all, I don't know whether I mentioned it in the episode when we did a roundup on Goodwood, is the Bullet Mustang.
Yes, you did.
The interior on that is honestly to die for. I love it.
Yeah, it is pretty special, isn't it?
So you get the cue ball gear lever in the mid. Brilliant. Honestly, if I had the money, because I think you can. Well, I think that was right-hand drive.
They are. Yes. No. They released it in the UK as right-hand drive, proper manual gearbox.
Oh God.
Everything you want. Nice green, the bullet green as well.
But didn't we find, considering that it's like a special edition sports car, it wasn't even that expensive? Didn't it start at like 50 odd grand or something?
Yeah, it wasn't.
I remember remarking at it that although that's obviously not a cheap price, I thought given the connection to Bullet, they could charge, frankly, a lot more than that.
Yeah, and I genuinely think people would have still bought it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, because I think they'll actually keep the money on those.
Yeah, me too, actually. I knew you're right. I think long term, if you keep yours
Yeah.
in good nick, you might actually get a little bit of a return on it.
Yeah, I had, because they
Yeah.
didn't make many. I don't know, I have the numbers to hand, but I don't know how many they made. It weren't many.
Right.
But I've seen a few knocking about at shows and things, and every time I see one, I yarn for it.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
You know the paint scheme on it, though, obviously that famous bullet green.
Yeah.
God, honestly, I would love if I could buy, say, a new Fiesta ST with that paint scheme.
Yeah, they do need to offer a bit more colours in.
That would be a great colour
Yeah.
to offer.
Because I think it would suit it. It's
That's
quite,
the thing.
It is
I
very
think
dark
it would
green.
suit it. It's a very dark, almost British racing green in some respects.
Yeah, but I would agree with you. I think it would look fantastic. That looks fantastic. Does the
Yes, it
Mustang with
does.
it? It's the one I would buy out of all that list. I'd actually interested to see which one out of that particular list we've just discussed. If you have obviously money, no object.
I'm saying, yeah, because look, the truth is, I wouldn't buy it, not because I don't like the car. I love it. It's just, it's not, the economy had crippled.
No,
me. Yes.
yeah. So money, no object.
Yeah.
Which one would you have out of all the ones we've mentioned?
Mustang, yeah.
The Stang, yeah. Same for me. I don't think you can go wrong. Everybody loves a Mustang.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, Mustang.
Even though it's obviously got lots of always overcompensating, always going to crash into a crowd with it, that kind of thing. But everybody deep down loves the way a Mustang looks.
But this will actually do corners as well.
Yes, it's because
It's been doing corners for a little while now.
they had help from their European division that know what a corner is.
I don't care who gave them help.
No, it's worked. So yeah, happy to go on there. So what we'll do is, now we'll just rounds that up nicely.
Yeah.
What we're going to do for our second topic is one that I think actually just a bit of fun we were discussing earlier. Is imagine the situation: someone was coming along and they were offering to give you a car. You didn't have to buy it. You didn't have to do anything. They were just going, right, here you are. There's the keys. That's your car.
But you can't sell it straight away.
Yeah, you basically you have to
drive
drive it. So we thought, hang on a minute, is there any cars that we would actually say no to? Obviously, this is a bit of a theoretical thing because in real life, if someone offers you something free, you just take it and sell it. If it was real,
But obviously, in this theoretical situation, it's something where they're offering to give me that car, but I have to drive it for, let's say, 3 months.
Yeah.
Before I'm allowed to sell it.
So this is something I think I don't even want to be driving.
Yeah, I don't want to be seen in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So, well, I'll just kick us off. The first one we both immediately said, without even a moment's hesitation, the Chrysler PT Cruiser.
Oh, God.
It is hideous. Now, we weren't even conferring with this beforehand. What we did is we both said, a car you couldn't be given. We both just said Chrysler PT Cruiser, straight off the bat.
Trouble is, I've seen a few of them, and I'm sorry, I don't get the appeal at all.
There isn't any appeal.
I don't get the appeal.
What it's trying to do is look like an old hot rod, but on a modern car.
But I might add, I don't even like the looks of old hot rods.
Well, no, I don't.
So it's not gonna. This ain't
hideous.
going to go well for me, is it? So
No, and obviously this car, when it was around, was sold in the UK. Obviously they didn't sell very many for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I will put a picture up again for you guys watching, but there's nothing to it. It didn't even. I didn't look at any power stats, unfortunately, because I didn't really want to spend time looking at it. I know they had a range of engine options from like 1.6s to 2.4s and
I've
whatever.
just noticed though, you could buy it with a 4-speed automatic.
Well, yeah, this is an American car we're talking about here.
4?
Yes, 4 gears. It's tragic in every aspect.
It is, isn't it? Yeah,
it is.
I'm sorry.
Genuinely, if I had to be given that to drive around in it, I'd actually rather get the bus.
Yeah, it's not nice, is it?
It's so ugly. I'll put pictures up for those guys watching just so you can see how bad it is if you're not sure what it is. But I'm pretty sure if you're into cars, unfortunately enough, you know what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm going to let you take the next one because I know it bathens you.
So, well, yeah. I might stress that the Nissan Micra on the whole, I don't actually hate with a burning passion.
Well, I had one as my first car. They weren't bad.
But there is one particular model I do hate with a burning passion.
I agree, go on.
And it's the Nissan Micra CC, which is the convertible version of the one that came out in 2005. So it's the ugliest of all the sort of Micra.
Yeah,
run.
the base model before the convertible is already bad.
Honestly, it's the worst of the lot as far as looks are concerned, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
And lopping the roof off does not help.
No, look at the back end of it. It's so long. I know they have to fit the roof in, but it's unnecessarily big.
But also, once they lop the roof off it, people will see you driving it.
Yeah. And you don't want to do that.
Well, this is the thing. Someone offered to give me that. That's like, oh, great. I've been offered a convertible, but I can never put the roof down.
No,
because people will see me if I put the roof down.
And laugh. And you know what? I don't know if you can cast your minds back to that episode of Top Gear where Hammond tested it, and on purpose they made him do it in his hometown and made it bright pink. And you know what? Seeing a few of these, I've seen a few of these around, and pretty much the only colour I've seen it in is pink.
Oh, God.
Which begs to differ who's actually bought that in pink.
Yeah, in toxic pink.
Yeah. I mean, the picture I'll put up is of the car, the sort of the launch colour of it. And there's one down the road, actually, just further down the road, that has one in this colour.
Right.
It's still god-awful, don't get me wrong. But why would you draw more attention to yourself than you need to?
Yeah. Sorry, for me, it's a no-go.
Yeah, absolutely wrong.
Yeah. However,
yeah, the new Micra. The new Micra that's just become available. Well, it's probably been out for a year now, but the new Nissan Micra, love it.
We both like this car.
Genuinely looks good, which I don't think you can't knock them for that. The styling looks fantastic. They've got a few engine options in it. The one that we would both said we'd go for is the IGT 100 horsepower petrol engine.
Exactly, yeah.
Obviously, it's a small little car. 100 horsepower is probably enough. It's not going to be the fastest thing on earth by any stretch.
Do you know what? 5-speed manual, looks quite cutesy.
Yeah, it's got all the tech inside, big screen, everything, you can play around. I'm sure it's got CarPlay and whatnot.
So yeah, this isn't some sort of campaign I have against the Nissan Micra.
No.
I really like the new one, and I'm glad the design has come on so well, because if you're looking at the CC from 2005, you wouldn't have given it much hope, would you?
No, you wouldn't. You think it's going to die a death. But they haven't. They've brought it back with flying colours, I think. I probably still wouldn't buy one if it was my own money, just because it's not the type of car I want.
However, if someone did buy one, and if I was being offered it,
if someone said,
I'd take it.
Have a car free, here's the new Micra.
Easy.
Take
Any
it,
day.
without even a moment's hesitation.
Yeah.
So, go on, I'll let you do this one. I know it's a favourite of yours.
So, obviously, available in the UK for a little while.
Yeah, it's not sold anymore, is it?
No, it's not, thankfully. The Proton Savvy. Now, power not so hot, so it's a 1.2 litre Renault engine by the looks of things.
Which is already a bad start.
Whoa, that's not the big problem. The big problem is it produces 74 horsepower.
I mean, you can walk faster if you try.
Now, here's the interesting bit, though. I believe that is either roughly similar or maybe even more than what I have in my Citroen C1 from when it was my first car.
I think it's a bit
heavy.
that
might actually be a bit more, but it's probably, you think you're right.
It is heavier.
Yeah.
And actually, you could get a 5-door C1. But I'm going to say that's a 5-door, isn't it? Probably slightly heavier. It is a slightly bigger car. It's still tiny, but it's slightly bigger.
Yeah.
Genuinely hideous in pretty much every aspect of the word.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's just not something.
It's not even the fact, to be fair, the looks of it is not the reason I hate the car.
Why do you hate it?
It's just something that has no soul to it at all. It's just a thing.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, it's an object.
It's an
object with the sole purposes. I will carry you from A to B, but it damned won't be in any sort of style or interest.
No, and I couldn't be seen stepping out of something. Why are you driving a Proton?
Yeah, I think that's one of the questions. Which obviously, but that leads us nicely onto our next choice, which obviously. Yeah, I mean, and we looked at the price of this thing as well.
Yes, so this car, it's actually relatively new. It's I think I'm pronouncing it right, sangyong, but it's called the sangyong Turismo.
Performance.
Wait for it, yes, performance. There's absolutely zero performance with the car, however, and it's genuinely disgusting. 2.2 litre diesel engine producing just under 180 horsepower.
To be fair, it's more than my Fiesta, but I'm guessing it's
a
damn sight
2.2
heavier. And yeah, it's a 2.2 litre engine as
How
well.
do you get such a small amount of power from a 2.2 litre diesel? It's got a massive front end. I'll put pictures up of this car just so you can see how bad it is.
Isn't it?
It's unnecessarily large, but it is a 7-seater, I guess. So, but the front end of it just looks big, flat, and boxy. The rear end of it has no design style whatsoever, and neither does the side. It's just all round an ugly car.
Yeah.
And we have actually sat in a few Sangyongs. The interiors feel like they're made out of tracing paper and plastic.
Yeah, I mean,
they're awful.
But as you say, it's one of those things though, because one of the brands that has really, actually, no, I'll give it two. I think Hyundai has done a fantastic job in recent years.
Yeah, reviving themselves.
Yeah, their brand has really come along.
Kia.
And yes, I was about to say, and Kia is the other one which has really come along as a brand that sort of in the mid-2000s or whatever might not have had a big reputation or whatever, but I think the Singer and the i30N respectively for Hyundai has really done those brands a world of favours.
Of course they have, and they're getting the brands on the map, which I think is the most important thing, and genuinely are good looking cars and nice to drive. I
was about to say, I'll just throw it in quickly. I'm sure Adam will be able to edit a picture in on this one, but the concept for the new Hyundai i10 has come out, and it looks well smart.
It actually does.
It looks really smart.
And I think we mentioned in the other podcast, both of us would quite like to see something to go up against the Up GTI. So an N version of that could be the answer.
You're talking about that could very well loosen money out of my pockets if it was good and it looked like that and when it made it to production, or looked similar to that when it made it to production.
Because I think they will, because they've done an N package on the i30, which is not obviously the hot one. They've done Fiestas have the ST line and Golfs have the R line and that sort of thing. I think they've done it's not called the N line, but like a sort of miniature, slightly faster version of standard, but slower than the normal N.
It's the Dupiazza of the range, isn't it? Yeah.
So they could put that engine in the i10N, the proper hot one, because it's a much smaller car, so that still would be fast.
Well, what you could do is I'm assuming that the new i10 will come out with something like a 3-cylinder 1 litre.
It will,
turbo.
yeah.
We'll just turn the boost up.
Yeah.
Turn the boost up. Give it
115 to 130 horsepower.
I'd say so. It's matching the Up GTI then, So we're definitely into the hundreds of.
And it'll still weigh roughly the same because they are tiny, aren't they?
Exactly,
so yeah. I think that's a good compromise to just end us on there. But those are cars we couldn't even be given if we were offered them.
Yeah, sorry.
Obviously, in a theoretical scenario, we had to drive them. If you're given anything, you take it for free and sell it.
That's true, yeah.
But in the scenario where you have to drive it, I would turn all of them down.
Afraid so.
Absolutely do not want them. So we are going to wrap that one up. If you're going to tune in next week, it actually is the season finale of obviously Series 2. So we're going to do a little bit of a special on there. So stay tuned on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll obviously put that out next Friday from when this is being launched.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. All the social media links are below if you do want to get in touch with us, and if you want us to discuss anything and you want to give us your opinion on how you think we're doing, by all means, leave a comment. I will get back to you. So we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you later, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.